harm is being done to ourselves, harm is being done to the planet, none of us escapes the harm. None of us. But what good will resentment do? I would rather use my energy to do something good to reverse the cycle. I have a choice. Should I spend my thought and my feelings and make myself so weary and just complain to everyone? So what? How will it change the world? But can we do something else instead? In the Dharma, practice, so that we can become awakened spiritually and we can stand in greater strength and unity. Practice generosity. Don't think of poverty as physical wealth. It is so easy for us to compare with the Joneses and say, oh, look, I don't have very much compared to them. I don't have the latest iPhone, etc. That's not wealth. But if we look at the 7 treasures as true wealth, we all possess them. And therefore, generosity is giving without asking for any returns.
Or send them alarm clock so they get awakened. Not that kind of awakened. Friends, welcome to episode 33 of Vibe with Venerables. 1 hour of live Dharma and dialogue where you get to talk directly to a respected Venerable. I'm Meng, co-founder of Buddhism.net and your host. Today, we continue to have our very awesome friend, Venerable Dr. Juewei, the director of Nan Tien Institutes, Humanistic Buddhism Center, and head of program for the Institute's Applied Buddhist Studies and Humanistic Buddhism programs. In today's class, we will explore the 6th. Let me say it again. In today's class, we will explore the 6th of 8 realizations of great beings. Venerable Juewei will be talking about money. Venerable will be talking about the Buddhist concept of wealth and the importance of generosity. And as usual, Venerable will speak for roughly 30 minutes and then answer your questions live. As a reminder, this session will be recorded and uploaded onto YouTube later. If you're comfortable doing so, we'd like to invite you to turn your camera on so that Venerable can see your lovely faces on his screen, on her screen. No. With that, dear Venerable, let me hand that to you so I can make fewer mistakes.
Thank you so much, Meng. I suspect you haven't had your morning coffee. Auspicious greetings to you, Meng, and all my Venerables friends. Well, here in Australia, we are celebrating International Women's Day weekend. So I want to say Happy International Women's Day weekend to one and all. And I'm going to put on screen what you are probably very familiar with right now. The image of 8 stacked stones. Once again, let's focus our mind on the image that's in your Zoom space. Observe what's going on in your mind as you look at this image. And then allow those thoughts to pass. Now, truly allow the image to make an impression in your consciousness. By paying attention to whatever enters your consciousness. Now, when you're ready, feel free to close your eyes. Let the Zoom space fade away. We are going to scan the body so that we can release any fatigue that it may feel from the day's toil. Starting with our forehead, relax. Relax our eyes. Relax our facial muscles. And let's not forget our jaws. Relax. Relax our neck and shoulders. Relax our upper arms, lower arms, hands, and fingers. Allow each finger to properly relax. Now bring our attention to our back. Relaxing first our upper back, middle back, and lower back. Relax. Relax our torso. Relax. Relax our thigh muscles, calf muscles, feet, and toes. Allow our entire body to relax, melting into our seat, feeling at one with the air that surrounds us. Now let's pay attention to our breath. As the air enters our body, nourishing every cell, and then leaving the body gently, without control, without judgment. Let's pay attention to that nourishing breath for the next 1 minute. As we close this meditation, let's give thanks to our breath. Without any effort on our part, our breath nourishes our body and gives us life. Whenever you are ready, gently open your eyes and look at our 8 stack stones again. Does it feel fresher to you? Does it appear clearer after that pause? Thank you for checking in with me. Over the past few weeks, we have chatted about the first 5 awakenings of the Bodhisattvas. Your lively chats in the chat stream have not gone unnoticed. I would like to share with you my thoughts as I try to match your comments to these awakenings. This particular sutra is about the 8 realizations of great beings called Bodhisattvas. So Bodhisattvas begin on their path by first realizing impermanence as the transient nature of all things. So congratulations to those of you who recognized your monkey mind and intrusive thoughts. You are now seeing the impermanence of your mental states. Bodhisattvas are then awakened to how attachment to desires can lead to suffering. You have acknowledged that your attachment to good food leads to your craving for more. You're definitely aware of your struggle with the desire for recognition and self-importance, which leads to feelings of anger and resentment. So today, we will tackle those resentments. Awareness is the first step towards problem solving, something that Meng has constantly told us during the Q&A session. The third awakening of a bodhisattva is to be contented with whatever life offers them. A few of you have recognized the need to cultivate contentment for whatever material things we may already own, whether a lot or very little. And to cultivate mindfulness to ease any suffering. You have also reflected on the importance of having faith in the teachings and sharing joy as path to contentment. The fourth awakening of a bodhisattva is to overcome laziness, and to do so, we use diligent effort. You express the need to be diligent in your study and practice to overcome feelings of inadequacy and fear. I wish you all the best. The fifth awakening of a bodhisattva is their wish to seek wisdom, to teach. Some of you have expressed a desire to help others understand difficult concepts like Buddha nature, and also the relevance of Buddhist teachings in their lives. That's indeed such a beautiful aspiration. Of course, the chat also contains numerous comments that do not fit into these 5 awakenings. If there is time in the final episode, we can discuss those important insights too. For now, let's reflect on something that Meng talked about, wealth. So, how can wealth be used, in your opinion, to transform resentment into generosity? You're only allowed one choice. How do you think your wealth, no matter how much or how little, can be wisely used? So the options are there on the screen. Please feel free to choose one that applies to you most. Do you think that you can transform resentment into generosity by recognizing the impermanence of material wealth and sharing it freely? Or by understanding that attachment to wealth can lead to suffering, thereby we should encourage a focus on giving? Or that by cultivating contentment with what we have, that can inspire us to share our resources, no matter how meager? Or by diligently practicing generosity, I can make generosity a habit to contribute to those in need. Or by seeking wisdom about the needs of others, so that we can allow for more meaningful contributions to those needs. And finally, whether realizing interconnectedness may motivate me to use my wealth to uplift others. There are no right or wrong answers. Just feel free to pick what really applies to you. So please feel free to just choose what intuitively stands out for you. It looks like so far, majority are expressing that it's in cultivating contentment with what we have. so that I can share my resources, no matter how meager. So that stands out. Interesting. Very good. And we also have, as a runner-up, understanding that attachment to wealth can lead to suffering. Therefore, we have to learn to give. That's great. Well, thank you everyone for your participation. Over 80% of you have participated, so that's great. Now, carrying that in your head, let's move on to reading the sutra together. So, Sutra of the 8 Realizations of Great Beings. For all disciples of the Buddha, each morning and night, recite with a sincere mind these 8 realizations of a bodhisattva. First, realize that this world is impermanent and that nations are dangerous and fragile. The 4 great elements lead to suffering and are empty, and the 5 aggregates are without a self. All things arise, cease, change, and become different. They are illusory, not real, and cannot be controlled. The mind is the source of unwholesomeness, and the body is a gathering of wrongdoings. Contemplate this, and you will gradually turn away from the cycle of birth and death. Second, realize that more desire causes suffering. The weariness of cycle of birth and death arises from greed and desire. Lessen desire and be without any wishes, and the body and mind will be at ease. Third, realize that the mind cannot be satisfied, but only seeks more, increasing its wrongdoing and unwholesomeness. Bodhisattvas are not like this. They are always satisfied with what they have, is peaceful in poverty, and upholds the way. Wisdom is their only concern. Fourth, realize that laziness leads to downfall. Be diligent and break through the evil of the affliction. Defeat the 4 kinds of Mara and escape the prison of the 5 aggregates and 3 realms. Fifth, realize that ignorance gives rise to the cycle of birth and death. Bodhisattvas are always mindful, study widely, listen more, increase their wisdom, and become more eloquent in order to teach all beings great joy. And 6, realize that those who are poor and suffering have more resentment, and that this leads them to create unwholesome conditions. Bodhisattvas practice giving and have equal concern for friend and foe. They do not recollect past unwholesome deeds committed against them, nor do they hate unwholesome people. Well, I'm now going to do what I've been doing the past few weeks. What do you think of this particular 6th awakening? Please feel free to post your thoughts in the chat stream. And if you agree with what others already say in the chat stream, feel free to add a reaction. And remember that your chats don't go wasted, because usually I take the week to review your chat comments and see if that may direct our conversations. So please feel free to generously give your comments. Well, it's really interesting that there are both questions that arise as a result of this particular awakening, but also at the same time, I can see that the answers may be answering the question. Yes, and a lot of Good observations. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for your contributions. Please feel free to continue typing. And I feel that your answers are really mutually reinforcing, but at the same time, so much reality in them. So hopefully Meng will have a chance to go over some of these insights afterwards. So let me continue to share some teachings from my teacher, the late Venerable Master Hsing Yun. He taught that in Buddhism, the concepts of poverty and wealth are viewed differently than in your regular material societal terms. While wealthy individuals may live in luxury and the poor may struggle for basic needs, circumstances can change. And that is a recognition into the intrinsic nature of all things, especially impermanence. So what my master has been teaching us is that wealth can come and go. Poverty often stems from past stinginess, while wealth arises from generosity. So importantly, being poor and suffering, as what the Sutra said, isn't solely about lacking money. Even those with great riches can be considered poor if they lack virtue, wisdom, or the ability to use their resources wisely. Many wealthy people become enslaved by their money, engaging in corrupt practices without understanding how to use their wealth for good. True poverty and suffering can exist even in abundance if one lacks the insight to use their resources beneficially. So I think they should all learn from Meng. The late Venerable Master Hsing Yun exemplifies to me true wealth through his humble lifestyle and profound teachings. He emphasized compassion, wisdom, and service to others, demonstrating that true richness comes from inner peace and the positive impact one has on the community. His life was a testament to the idea that personal possessions do not define one's worth. He did not even have a writing desk all his life and never had a moment of solitude, even when he was wheelchair-ridden. And when he could not see and could not hear, he claimed that he was not suffering, but just a little bit inconvenienced. And he continued to gift the world with his one-stroke calligraphies till his last moments. If one cannot achieve financial wealth, but focuses on spiritual growth, even a simple life can be fulfilling. Wisdom and virtue are far more valuable than material possessions, and those who cultivate these qualities will not harbor resentment towards life, whatever the conditions may be. Consider someone like Henry David Thoreau, who famously lived in a small cabin at Walden Pond, embracing simplicity while reflecting deeply on nature and existence. True poverty is not measured by material lack, but by the absence of virtue and purpose in life. While many chase after money, that's what I call monetheism, they often overlook the importance of accumulating good deeds and inner peace. Without virtue, even wealth can feel empty, leading to dissatisfaction and negative karma. In contrast, a life rich in spiritual cultivation fosters contentment and joy, regardless of external circumstances. The concept of seven treasures, or in Chinese it's called 七圣财, refers to the 7 types of Buddhist wealth that contribute to a fulfilled and prosperous life. These treasures are not material, but encompass spiritual and moral values that enrich one's existence. The 7 treasures are: 1. Faith. That is a deep trust in the teachings of the Buddha and Buddhist sages. And for me now, it is a deep faith in the goodness of humanity, something we refer to as the Buddha nature. 2nd, virtue, or moral integrity and ethical conduct that guide one's actions. This treasure is our moral compass and much needed in guiding our decisions from moment to moment. 3rd, shame. It is a treasure because it encourages self-reflection and accountability for our actions. 4th, remorse. Remorse leads to a genuine desire to improve and rectify past mistakes. So it's a very good treasure to follow from shame. Next is the treasure of learning, something we have covered a lot in this series. Learning emphasizes the importance of acquiring knowledge and wisdom through study and broadly listening. Generosity, something we are going to talk about today, is that willingness to share resources and help others, fostering community and compassion. And finally, concentration and wisdom. To me, that's the ultimate treasure. It reflects the importance of cultivating a focused mind that remains undistracted, allowing us to clearly illuminate the intrinsic nature of all phenomena. This state of mental clarity and insight enables individuals to understand the true essence of reality. This treasure also says that only by mastering our attention can we penetrate the complexities of existence, thereby transforming knowledge into true understanding and realization. Do pay attention to these 7 treasures over this coming week. In our next episode, we will begin with a poll about these treasures as they apply in your life. Hence, pay attention to how faith, virtue, shame, remorse, learning, generosity, as well as concentration and wisdom feature in your daily actions, speech, and thought patterns. I look forward to hearing from you next week. So back to generosity. Bodhisattvas know that the best way to generate wealth is by giving. Imagine a local business owner in your neighborhood who frequently donates to the community, their events, sponsors local sports teams, or provides free workshops. Initially, these acts of giving may seem like a financial loss. However, over time, this business owner will build a strong reputation and fosters goodwill within the community. As a result, more customers are drawn to their business, leading to increased sales and profits. So when we talk about giving, many people hesitate, fearing they might be pressured to part with their money or possessions. However, giving encompasses much more than material contributions. Even if we have very little, we can still practice generosity. For example, a simple greeting like "Good morning" or "Have you eaten?" can foster connections and is a form of giving through speech. Smiling warmly and offering a kind gaze exemplifies giving through facial expressions. Helping someone carry heavy items or guiding those who are lost illustrates giving through action. Moreover, feeling compassion for those in pain or joy for others' successes reflects giving through mental intention. So we can give through words, through actions, and thoughts that's accessible to everyone. So let's all engage in these gifts of kindness. The sutras describe 3 types of giving that can resonate deeply with us. Material giving, which is giving essential items like food, clothing, and shelter to those in need. The gift of the Dharma focuses on sharing insight and wisdom to help others reduce suffering and transform into better versions of ourselves. Fearlessness giving can involve standing up for justice, promoting peace, and offering spiritual support to those who are suffering. However, know that although giving is an admirable practice, achieving the Buddhist ideal of generosity means letting go of the self, recognizing that there is no giver, no receiver, and no object given. Many people give with the hope of being thanked or recognized, but true Buddhist giving transcends these expectations. It's about practicing generosity without seeking personal gain. Giving can be easy when it comes to our loved ones, but what about those we find difficult to appreciate? True generosity shines when we can extend kindness to those whom we may be resenting. So in Buddhism, bodhisattvas practice equal treatment of enemies and friends, meaning they offer help to anyone in need, all sentient beings, regardless of their personal feelings. Remember, resentment is often mutual. So the more we forgive, the more people we forgive, we will create a ripple effect that encourages others to do the same. By embracing both our loved ones and those we struggle with, we cultivate a compassionate mindset that can transform our relationships and open our own hearts. Let's look at the final line of this sixth awakening. They do not recollect past unwholesome deeds committed against them, nor do they hate unwholesome people. Bodhisattvas practice the awakened path from resentment to compassion with true generosity that transcends their personal feelings. It involves giving without attachment to the outcome or the recipient's past actions. When we practice such true generosity, we cultivate a heart that is open and compassionate, allowing us to connect with others regardless of our previous experiences with them. Bodhisattvas thereby embody the wisdom of letting go. They do not dwell on past grievances or wrongs done to them. This practice frees them from the burden of resentment and allows them to see others clearly without the fog of past hurt clouding their judgment. By releasing these memories, we create space for healing and understanding. Voila! Here we have it, the first 6 awakenings of the Bodhisattvas. And my friends, we are 75% into this Bodhisattva path. The end is near. So let's quickly revise. In the face of impermanence, Bodhisattvas recognize the transient nature of all things. That's the first awakening. Then the second awakening follows, with teaching Bodhisattvas to loosen their grip on anything they desire. And the third awakening is to be contented with whatever life offers them. The fourth awakening is to recognize the strength of our habitual tendencies and to overcome our unwholesome habits with diligent effort. The fifth awakening seeks out Buddhist wisdom in order to teach others and thereby liberate them. And the sixth awakening today helps us to learn to release past grievances and open our hearts to everyone. This selfless giving fosters a sense of connection and breaks the cycle of negativity, allowing us to cultivate a more compassionate world, which is the material of our 7th awakening next week. So back to you, Meng. I'm going to stop sharing.
Thank you, Lao Shi. So, my friends, as we contemplate on giving, I want to highlight a great example on the screen in front of you, which is Venerable Juewei. I mean, it's probably obvious to all of you, but she takes a lot of time to prepare each lesson, right? Hours of preparation for 1 hour of lesson. And she does it without complaining and without receiving anything in return. So already in front of us, there's an example of giving of Dharma and giving of time and kindness. So thank you, teacher. Okay, before we begin our discussion, let's take a moment to absorb and digest the teachings of Venerable Juewei. And first, let's take a breath. And reflect on what we just learned and how it relates to our lives. Thank you, my friends. So if you have any questions for Venerable or any reflections you want to share with Venerable, please feel free to use the hand-raising function on Zoom, and I'll invite you to unmute yourself. Lao Shi, we have a question from last week that was unanswered because we ran out of time, and I want to highlight that question again. So this question is, Sifu, how can I improve my mind? Even when I pray, intrusive thoughts come to unsettle me with fear. And I now try to let the thoughts go, and I tell myself to release them. I let the thoughts just play and release them. But this still keeps going on. And even when I'm reading the Pumen Pin, which is part of the Lotus Sutra, when I try to settle my mind reading Pumen Pin daily, still, my mind settles, but still the intrusions come, especially when it's quiet. So, Venerable, what can this person do?
Thank you so much for that question. It's a great question. I think we all experience some kinds of unsettledness in our lives. So first of all, I'd like to say you are not alone. It happens to all of us. But what's interesting is that unsettledness might be your first awakening, that you have realized the impermanence of those intrusive thoughts because there was a period of calm when you were chanting the Pumen Pin, and then the intrusive thoughts come, and then you've got your period of calm again. So you don't have to worry because these thoughts are impermanent. And remember the word tathagata. It means letting come and letting go. Suchness. So let those intrusive thoughts come, let those intrusive thoughts go. Let the thoughts of peace come, let the thoughts of peace go. And perhaps when you are able to look at those thoughts in this manner, you will be able to then next ask yourself, what could I be attached to? Could it be that I'm very much attached to that peace of mind, just like me? I want that peace of mind. But the more I get attached to it, the more I'm going to realize even that peace of mind cannot last forever. So perhaps those intrusive thoughts, those thoughts of fear, are here to teach me a lesson, to teach me to be more aware of what I may be attached to. And then with that, perhaps we could be more contented or more equanimous with those nasty thoughts, recognizing that they are just thoughts. They don't really physically hurt us. So once we can settle and rest in that state of acceptance, we can then learn to diligently practice, which is, of course, the substance of our awakenings here. So what do we practice? The awakenings are teaching us to listen broadly, to increase our knowledge and wisdom. And today we learn to practice generosity. We can also learn to treat our intrusive and our peaceful thoughts with generosity of heart, with that openness of heart, and share our experiences like you have done here. That's very meritorious. So thank you so much for your question. I think it's going to be helpful for us on this journey as a bodhisattva.
Thank you. There is a question that is relates to what you just said, Venerable, which is contentment a sort of equanimity?
Yeah, this is quite interesting, right? Contentment and equanimity. As far as I know, we tend to talk about contentment in terms of physical things. So we can be contented with our physical, material possessions. Equanimity usually comes with the four immeasurables, which is a state of immeasurable state of mind that brings us into the heavenly realms. Being equanimous with whether the external conditions and our internal feelings are in a state of turmoil, whether there's a tornado going on and a hurricane, or whether they're very calm. Just take them as they are. I feel that we could differentiate them, if we wish, between contentment and equanimity. But in substance, it's about letting things come and letting things go, not having such strong divisions and polarized feelings about who's friend and who's foe, trying to have that balanced middle way lifestyle.
Venerable, would you mind if I contribute to that with with a more technical?
Please, Meng.
Okay.
Love to hear your thoughts.
My thoughts. So, yeah, I had to approach it in a slightly more technical sense because I'm not a master. I'm kind of like still an engineer. And so the definition of equanimity, the Buddha actually gave a very specific technical definition, which is to be unaffected by the 8 worldly winds, gain and loss, status and disgrace, praise and blame, and pleasure and pain. So whatever all 8 things come, it doesn't affect me. So that is equanimity. Contentment, in contrast, is, and this is in my mind, I define it as loving, wanting what you have instead of having what you want. So the difference is this, is my opinion. Contentment is a subtly joyful state, whereas equanimity is a state beyond joy and pain and pleasure, joy and suffering. And it shows up in daily life in that way. It also shows up in meditation. And so, at least in my understanding, contentment shows up most strongly in the first jhana. And in the first jhana, the whole body and mind is filled with joy, and the experience is, I'm so happy because everything I want, everything I ever need is already here. There's nothing more I need or want. Whereas in equanimity, it's strongest in the fourth jhana. And the fourth jhana, the mind goes beyond pleasure and pain, beyond even this thought. I have everything I need, I have everything I want. And then it shows up that way. So that is at least the difference, that in my understanding.
Yeah, just don't get attached to the jhanas.
Yes, and yes, everything I just said, and don't get attached to anything I just said, because these are all views, and as the Buddha said, do not get attached to any view or distinction.
Especially the jhanas.
Yes.
Be careful.
All the distinctions. Yes. Okay. So, next question from the audience, Venerable, is how does generosity lead to awakening?
So through today's class, what I'm trying to highlight, first of all, is that don't think of poverty as physical wealth. It is so easy for us to compare with the Joneses and say, oh, look, I don't have very much compared to them. I don't have the latest iPhone, etc. So that's not wealth. But if we look at the 7 treasures as true wealth, we all possess them. And therefore, generosity is giving without asking for any returns. That is great awakening. If we can practice that, that's understanding Buddha nature. That's understanding non-self. If we are able to move towards such practice.
Yeah, thank you. Again, if you don't mind me adding, also, I think the way generosity leads to awakening also is in relinquishment. And generosity is at least practice at an ordinary person is a relinquishment of stuff, of money, and it gets the mind used to letting go of mind stuff, mind money, right? So the mind becomes weaker and weaker, and when we get used to giving money, we eventually get used to giving other things, giving like that Venerable always does, giving time, giving kindness, giving and herself. And then eventually, as the relinquishing continues on, we start giving even relinquishing selfness. And so there's a gradual encouragement that generously encourages the mind towards that selflessness and then non-selfness and then emptiness.
Yeah, but definitely. And also to give to both friend and foe.
That's right.
So that is having no concept of the giver, so that's the non-self, but also the non-self with respect to who you want your gift to be, your beneficiaries.
Right. Yeah.
I think that's really wonderful. And at the end to say, did I give anything? What did I give? Oh, but that is just a set of conditions coming together. That's all. And it's just that this lifetime I happen to have more of this, but it's not necessarily so the next lifetime.
Yes. Thank you. Okay, I have this is two questions. They are basically one question, but one is slightly deeper than the other. And this is a big question. So this person asks, this last sentence of the sixth awakening is a big challenge for me, because I recognize the unwholesome deeds committed against humanity and the planet, and I struggle with the unwholesome feelings towards those creating harm. And I confess I have the same problem. And then this other person asked something very similar. This person said, even when I do not resent the person, I still suffer. Why? Because there's likely a deep-seated, muddy resentment or aversion within my subconscious. So how do I release even this, release my consciousness from even this suffering and move to equanimity?
I want to say that I really feel for you, and I know how difficult it is, because harm is being done to ourselves. Harm is being done to the planet. And even when I'm not in the same regime, we are so interconnected. None of us escapes the harm. None of us. But what good will resentment do? I would rather use my energy to do something good to reverse the cycle. I have a choice. Should I spend my thought and my feelings and make myself so weary as a result of this resentment and just complain to everyone? So what? How will it change the world? But can we do something else instead in the Dharma practice, so that we can become awakened and more powerful spiritually, and we can stand in greater strength and unity with a community of like-minded people. Grow this circle of positive forces instead. Practice generosity. They will have their karma. Believe, have faith in karma. Karma will take care of everything. But if we don't act, we are just contributing to that bad karma.
So, Venerable, is it like when I hear you, I remember people like Gandhi and Martin Luther King Jr. Right? They fight the system, but they don't fight the people. They continue to love the people. Something
Yes,
like that, right? I mean,
that's right.
it sounds hard, but it appears also from the example, it appears doable.
It's conditions, right? It's the conditions who make up these people. So they have they live in those conditions that we should be just so grateful that we don't live in those conditions. And we have an opportunity to approach Buddhism and the Dharma, which they didn't have. They didn't have the right counselors. So let's pray that they get awakened. Send them lots of metta because they have the power to change the world. Maybe we should just make our way into their council.
Or send them alarm clock so they get awakened. Not that kind of awakened.
I'm just thinking if all the leaders in the world were Buddhists.
Awakened Buddhists. Not just any Buddhists.
Awakened Buddhists, this will be the Pure Lands.
Yes. Actually, that's what I'm working on, but in my other project, which we can talk about offline.
Yes.
Okay.
And there are things we can do. So please.
Yes. I'm working towards enlightenment for all leaders. I'm not necessarily Buddhist, but an awakening.
Yeah, and I'm trying to also promote something called kindness economy.
Very cool.
That's right. There are alternatives.
Very cool. Okay, I think we have time for one last question.
Sure.
And this is fairly big. This question, I think, is from the 7 treasures. It's one of those simple questions, but could be a big answer. The 7 treasures include shame. So for some people, that's very surprising. How is shame a treasure?
We are human. I don't know. Just like Meng demonstrates to us, right? We all make mistakes, small or big.
Especially me more than you.
No, me too. We are, but you're just demonstrating that you're human and not AI.
That's true.
That's really wonderful. And if men can make an error, so can we.
That's very funny.
But what's important is that after we make an error, we make amends. And that making amends comes from that sense of shame. Oh, how could I be doing that? Recognition that we have made an error, instead of trying to package ourselves that, no, I didn't do it. I don't admit an error, which is what they tell me to do. I remember it the first time when I first entered the United States and I learned to drive, they say no matter what happens, even if you are wrong and you hit someone, don't tell the police that you are wrong. But I don't think so. I think that because otherwise the insurance won't cover you. But to me, I don't think so. I think if I'm wrong, I have to admit my error. Be ashamed about it. And then make remorse so that I will not repeat it. So I think shame and remorse come together.
I see. So it's a gift, it's a treasure for us because it gets us back to the right path. It's kind of like our protector.
It is. It's our ethical guardrail.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
So that is okay. That is okay for us. That sometimes we make mistakes, sometimes unintentionally. But even sometimes we are human. We make mistakes. But having shame and remorse allows us back into the awakened path. And so it's a treasure.
Right. Oh, that's a beautiful thought. Thank you, teacher. I mean, a lot of people think of shame as a bad, remorse as a bad things, but it actually can be framed as things that are like very good for our practice. They're beautiful gifts. Oh, thank you. Okay, I think that's all the time we have for the program. Venerable, over to you for closing.
Yes. Thank you so much, everyone, for your lovely questions, your insights, your comments in the chat. I'll take some time to read them later. In the meantime, I just like to say that tomorrow we'll have Sunday check-in sessions. So if you are available, please join us for Sunday check-ins, a half hour of Dharma, reflection, and community connections. In honor of International Women's Day, Nan Tien Institute also warmly invites you to a special online panel on our Monday, celebrating the lives, leadership, and contributions of women in Australian Buddhism. Join us on the 9th of March in celebrating the inspiring paths our panelists have created and the communities they continue to strengthen. On Tuesday, the 10th of March, the Humanistic Buddhism Special Interest Group will meet. They will kick off 2026 with 2 presentations on the 10th of March, Tuesday. So we first explore the relationship of technologies and some solutions that Buddhism may offer. One speaker is the NTI alumnus Anthony Baum, and we did the project together in submitting a Buddhist data principles paper to a United Nations working group on global data governance. So I said, we can do something to whatever's happening in the world, and he will be sharing what he's done. And I will follow to talk about how we can reframe religious propagation in this age of AI. A few days ago, I spoke on this panel that was co-sponsored by Tricycle and the Buddhism and AI Initiative on the right relationship with AI. So if you have missed it, the recording is now available, so feel free to watch it at your own time. And finally, an exciting new option for studying at NTI. We now offer something called auditing of classes, single subjects, which involves the same depth of participation in group learning without the need of doing assessments. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, please contact us. So Meng, shall we check out together?
Yes, please.
A Prayer for the People Who Listen to the Dharma by Venerable Master Hsing Yun. O great compassionate Buddha, please guide us in understanding the cause and effect and karmic retribution clearly. Please guide us in exalting loving kindness, compassion, and equanimity. Please guide us in respectfully upholding the 5 precepts and the 10 wholesome conducts. Please guide us in carrying out the 6 paramitas. We hope to transfer the merits of listening to the Buddha's teachings to all beings in the Dharma realms. May we all seek and realize supreme enlightenment. O great compassionate Buddha, please accept our sincerest prayer. O great compassionate Buddha, please accept our sincerest prayer.
Sanjai, Sanjai, Sanjai. Thank you, teacher. My friends, please bow to our teacher. Thank you, Venerable, for being with us. This recording will be uploaded to the Buddhism.net YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, and tell all your friends. And friends, if you'd like to show your appreciation and gratitude to our teacher, Venerable Juewei, you may make a donation to Nan Tien Institute. We'll be sharing the link by chat and by email. So Venerable Juewei will be here with us for 3 more weeks. And I want to share what's coming up in April. In April, the Malaysian master, Bante Agachita, will be teaching us for 2 sessions on meditation for lay people. That's on April 17th and April 24th. So registration is already open and the link is shared in the chat. Also, starting next week, the United States will spring forward into daylight savings time. So for our friends in the US, this show will be 1 hour later. So 5 p.m. for those in the West Coast and 8 p.m. for those on the East Coast. So if you show up and then you find that you have to wait for 1 hour, it's not you, it's not us, it's the US government. So therefore, you should blame Canada. I'm kidding. So my friends, next week, Venerable Juewei will be back for the penultimate which is the seventh realization of great beings. Don't miss it. Thank you, friends. See you next week.
Thank you, everyone.